Hey guys, so today I want to teach you how to become an entrepreneur. 24 months ago, middle of the pandemic, and I had a mindset shift. And what happened was I essentially went from an employee mindset to an entrepreneur's mindset, right? And I was moonlighting as an entrepreneur, building a business, but also working full time. And I took the entrepreneur mindset and started to apply it to my job, and things have changed radically. Within 12 months, had doubled my income in my job, have been able to get promoted several times, and so and those accolades, and I kept succeeding, and so I just wanted to take some of that knowledge and some of the things that I've learned and just pass them on to you, so that if you're in a position where maybe you're not an entrepreneur, maybe you're working for a company and you're not, you're in a salary role, or you're not paid fully based on your production, then you can take these tips, apply them to your job, and become an entrepreneur, which will lead to greater success, greater fulfillment, more autonomy, and actually climbing, not just climbing the ladder, but, maybe even stepping off the ladder and scaling the side of the building, and going where you want to go and peeking in the windows you want to peek in. And so that's what I want to teach you today. So there are really four basic things that I learned that whenever I started to apply them, they just made a huge difference in, how I was seen in the company and how I was able to affect, the things that I was doing, in my day to day. And so the first thing I learned to do was to become the CEO of Me Incorporated. And so to operate as a business within a business. And so I started looking at myself not as just another employee, but as a company within the company. And so I'm now the CEO of Me Inc. And so I'm going to ask myself questions like, do I know what my objectives are? Do I know my KPIs? Am I doing things that I shouldn't be doing, as a business owner? Or, what areas could I actually take and reduce inputs and still create the same outputs? Or how can I triple my production today? Or, what areas am I wasting? Or, are there certain things that I'm doing that if I were to change how I was doing them would produce the same outcomes, either cheaper or faster or better? And so I started to ask myself questions that a CEO would ask or an entrepreneur would ask. And so when I took the responsibility now away from my employer and put it in my own hands, I started to see drastic improvements in how I was perceived, and I wasn't looking for excuses when things didn't go as I had planned, but I was looking for, I'm responsible, what areas can I change, and, what things can I tweak to where this doesn't happen again, right? And I saw failures no longer as failures. I saw them as opportunities to succeed, and, these challenges I was facing weren't impediments to growth. They were actually the stepping stones that led me to grow and to become better. And so when I started to look at myself as, the business within a business, things started to drastically change. The second thing that I started doing that just made a huge difference was I learned to play the game but not follow the rules. And so what I mean by this is, I'm not saying go out and break the rules of your company or, break company policy. I'm not saying that at all, right? But what I am saying is that a company has they have a written set of rules, and then they have a non-written set of rules. And employees are put into these positions, right, to where they're expected to follow the set of rules to keep the money in the company flowing, to keep the company productive, to keep the pieces to the machine well oiled and operational. And if somebody's not following those rules, then what they could do is they can actually, mess up something over here, which water falls down and messes something up elsewhere. And so, the first piece to playing the game but not following the rules is do your job, right? If you're paid to do X, do X, and do it to the best of your ability. But what somebody can do is, once they've learned how to master their job, right, now that they're able to accomplish their tasks that they're paid to do, then this person can actually start to move out of the framework of the game and to start to operate with more autonomy and more freedom, which will allow this person, one, the ability not just to work in their job, but now to work on their job. And this creates for that person a lot more opportunity, right? So they're stepping off the ladder and they're scaling the building, and they're able to go peek into other windows, and they're able to, scale where they want to scale, but at the same time, right, they're still doing their job. And so this allows a person, right, this person, by the way, is not going to announce that they're doing this. It's not something tangible or physical, right, but it is something that somebody can do mentally, and once they've done this, then now they've created opportunities for themselves, and they're able to go affect more change in more areas, and they're able to take a perspective and, add to it, and to, create a new way to look at the company. And this actually just equips the person to be more effective in their role and to produce more and to affect greater change on the organization overall. And so the third thing I would recommend for somebody to do if they want to become an entrepreneur is to actually work for twice what they're paid. And so what I mean by this is, imagine you're paid $75,000 to do a job, right? Work as if you're getting paid $150,000 in your day-to-day. Because imagine you show up and you're getting paid $75,000 or 40 or 250, whatever, name the number, 2.6 million, whatever. You're getting paid to do this amount of work. If somebody continues to do the amount of work they're getting paid to do, then they're fulfilling their duties, and they're a good employee, right? But what incentive does the company have to pay them more, right? If they're doing $75,000 worth of work, and the employee wants to be making $90,000, maybe they want to pay off some debt, or maybe they want to buy a house, or take the kids to Disney or whatever, then they go to their employer and say, hey, can I have this pay raise? But their employer has no grounds to give them a pay raise because they haven't increased their production. And so essentially now what they've done is if they did get the raise, now they're just a bigger risk, a bigger liability on the balance sheet because they're producing less compared to what they're getting paid to do. And so if somebody comes in paid $75,000 and does $150,000 worth of work, then that person now has every right to be entitled to more, but they don't have to even go tell anybody. That's the thing. If they show up every day and just do twice what they're paid to do, people will notice. The company will notice. The managers and the executives, they will notice, and that person will inevitably be paid for what they're doing, right? If it's time for promotions and it's me against Bob, and me and Bob both are paid $75,000, the pay raise for this position is $125,000 position, but I'm doing $75,000 worth of work, and Bob is doing $150,000 worth of work, and the position pays $125,000. Then what sense would it be to promote me when Bob is producing enough to where it makes sense to put him in that position, right? And the company's going to be in a good spot because he's doing $150,000 worth of work. It's only a $125,000 promotion. Bob's happy. Kids go to Disney. They get the new house. They pay off the debt, and the company is still profitable, right? And so do more work than you're paid to do, because eventually the people that do this, they'll actually end up getting paid more later on to do, or they'll get paid more to do less, right? So if they do more than they're paid to do now, then later on they'll be paid more to do less. And so it's a weird dichotomy, but it is so. And so the fourth thing to do to become an entrepreneur would be to automate and systematize your work. And so what this means is, let's say I'm an employee, I get hired on to do this job. This job requires me to do this amount of work, and if I can do this amount of work, then essentially I'll have completed the task, and I'm a good employee because I did what I was paid to do, right? An entrepreneur looks for ways to automate that work and to systematize it and even outsource it to where they're able to free up more of their time, right? And so I'm the employee, I'm paid to do this amount of work. If I'm able to automate this much of it, right, now I have this much free time over here to, again, the employee-minded person would see this free time and say, I'm going to go, scroll on social or go hang out at the water cooler or cut out early. The entrepreneur sees his time as, by the way, time as their greatest value, their greatest asset, most valuable asset. They see, hey, I can take this time actually and now not only work on my job rather than just work in it, I can work on it, but I can also, maybe venture out and help this initiative or work on this project or help this department. And now this person's actually doing more than their job, and this person as an entrepreneur is going to have the freedom over here of time now to affect change how they want to affect change. And so whenever people think about automating my job, right, I get hired to do a job, I automate it. Well, the fearful mindset would say, I don't want to automate myself out of a job, or I don't want to, remove the necessity of me in this position, so therefore the company doesn't need me. That's fearful mentality, right? The employee that says, hey, employer, I just took my job and I automated 80% of what I have to do. I still got to do this 20% to keep this other 80% automated and working and systematized, but I've automated it, or I've outsourced it, or we could actually hire 2 interns to do it at half the rate you're paying me. I actually see some initiatives over here I think I could work on, or how could I do this for the greater department? How could I do this for more people? This person's actually going to put themselves in a position where the employer is not going to just say, oh, you automated your work, you're out of here. They're going to say, hey, I love your critical thinking. I love your creativity. What'd you do there? Can we do it here, here, and here? Can we duplicate that throughout the organization and free up more time for higher level thinking, for higher leverage tasks, right? To get rid of all the mundane work that people are doing, can we automate it? Can we systematize it? Can we duplicate it? And so if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to, create the freedom and have the autonomy and the fulfillment of, being an entrepreneur, then I'd recommend following these 4 steps. And these 4 steps are very simple. 1, work as though you're a company within a company. You're now the CEO of You Incorporated. Act like it. 2, play the game, but don't follow the rules, right? So do your job, but move outside of the system that contains the average employee and start to affect change how you want to affect change and create autonomy and freedom by impacting the company in greater ways. 3, work for twice what you're paid. So you're paid X, work for X times 2. You're paid $30,000, go do $60,000 worth of work, because if you do, inevitably, you will end up getting paid for the work you're doing. And even if you didn't, you develop a crazy good work habit to where when the next opportunity comes along, you'll be paid a lot more. And 4, automate, systematize, and even outsource your work. So take what you're doing, automate as much as you can of it, right? Systematize it, create processes, procedures to where it's a lot more duplicatable, a lot simpler, and then use your freedom of time as an entrepreneur to, again, affect change in the organization and other channels. And so if somebody can do these 4 things and begin to make the mindset shift again of becoming an entrepreneur, then this person can not only unlock doors that they never would have believed possible, but they can unlock income earning opportunities. They can again get off the ladder, scale the building, and they can affect change, become a key player, a linchpin in their org, and live a much more fulfilling life. And so with that, my name is Dalton. Thanks for tuning in. Like, subscribe, follow me on Instagram and LinkedIn. Shoot me a message, give me a comment, and have a great day.